still.
So, you know, reboots, number ones, it's all part of the comic book playbook now, for better or worse, but a lot of it certainly started in this era, and a lot of it started with you guys.
Do you want me to finish on the why so many imprints thing?
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
One of the things that we did, and lots of our computers attack us all the time for being crass and not thinking that you had to be a starting artist.
Which was true.
Yeah.
That was a fair attack.
Oh, yeah. You know, you always got attacked for that. Well, the book industry has several imprints. Always. Standard practice. There'll be the main publisher, and then there's Tor that does the science fiction stuff, and then romance will be under a different label. And it was really a way to do two things. One, have people understand the flavor of that label, which changed over time in some labels. But also, we didn't get any more number ones, we got more launches. The thing is, when you have 3 great comics that you want to launch in a month, it's almost impossible. In fact, many people would call it impossible, those who didn't have separate imprints. But for us, each imprint was its own promotion, its own marketing. So that meant that we really had 12. You counted? Oh my God.
We got we never solicited 12.
Counting platinum edition.
Probably the most we ever solicited at the time was 4 or 5.
Well, we inherited a lot of these things too, because the Eternity office sort of went bluey in New York, and all their books came west to the Malibu offices. And then Ken Campbell had a company called Aircell, which was named after his insulation company. And he was doing a great business when the comics were selling really well, and then when the market started to slow down, he didn't know what to do, and he wanted to get out of comics really badly. So he essentially gave us his Aircell imprint to run with Barry Blair. And then Steve Milo ran Adventure Comics, and he sort of got to this point where he didn't want to do it anymore, but he had all these comics and all these titles. And he went to Scott, who we'd known for years.
We both started as absolute, hated each other rivals, starting mail order. We were the first two to start mail ordering what would otherwise be sold out comics to retail stores, but charging them retail because we didn't pay anything. And we both started at the same time. We were at war all the time.
And
we're best friends.
He got tired of Adventure Comics because he didn't understand how to handle creators and didn't know how to publish books really well. And so he said, "Here, Scott, my problem is now your problem. You have my imprint." And then we ended up with 4 imprints.
So that's how much we paid for each of them.
Yeah.
But people counted us for marketing. I mean, to them, that was a big thing. They'd make more money, and we happened to be really good at it, and we knew how to do it with their money.
That's what a publisher should do.
And we kept our promises. The history of comic books is full of
lies, forgetfulness.
Yeah, I mean, fly-by-night guys that trying to do it by the seat of their pants, guys that don't know what they're doing, and they leave the creators hanging in the wind for whatever money they promised them. And that wasn't ever going to be us. And so we didn't promise them a lot, but we delivered what we promised. That was the mainstay of what got us through those first few years.
Yeah, you guys always paid on time. I mean, as a freelancer, I lived entirely, not well, but entirely off.
Nobody lives that well.
Do you know our motive behind paying on time?
I'm sorry?
Do you know our motive behind paying on time? We didn't jet that.
Tell me.
Do you remember?
I don't know what you're talking about, but
He doesn't remember the squirrel.
And it's a contract, so I remember. So we always say we pay in 30 days. And I figured if we pay in 21, no one will ever call. So we actually had one less person in our bookkeeping office, and we saved all that money. So we actually had an ulterior motive to pay people on time or early.
We were also good guys, too. Actually, cared about the people we worked with. That was part of it.
No, it's actually true.
Also, we were not against making a deal with somebody. There was an artist who wanted to work on our books, and he couldn't do it, but then he got into financial trouble. And he came to us and said, "I'll do X number of books for you if you can advance me X amount of money so I can cover I forget what it was, tax bill or car or something." And so we got a guy that we wouldn't have normally gotten had we not had money in the bank. And we always got calls. Tax time was around April 15th. We always get calls from freelance artists around February because they just done their taxes and they hadn't saved enough money in the previous year. And they would come to us and say, "I'll do a guest cover. I gotta have, I need $100 and $500 I need something because my tax bill is due and I got nothing to bank." And so we would always have an opportunity available to, we get something in return to help out guys.
Yeah, so these guys were able to get people who normally charge $1,000 for a cover for $5. And it's not that we were ripping the person off, they knew that's our budget. They all use spreadsheets, and we had budgets for each line of comics, and we allowed our editors, many of which started as interns.
And also, we had such a wide line of products that when we got the license for Planet of the Apes, we would call us up and say, listen, I gotta have an apes cover. Give me an apes cover. Let me do an apes cover. Please, I want to draw Planet of the Apes for like 20 years since I saw it in 1960. Please let me draw it. And so we would just come to an agreement for a creator that we would never ordinarily use.
Well, licenses were a part of the Malibu stable. Let's talk about that real quick, and we'll move on to some of the creator-owned things that maybe you're better remembered for. So you had licensed books like Planet of the Apes, you had Star Trek. This seems like you're punching above your weight to land some of those licenses. How did that come about? How did those arrive at Malibu? Like I remember Star Trek came from DC or Marvel too.
Star Trek.
Scott's got to tell the Star Trek story. That's a priceless.
Okay, let's hear the Star Trek
You know what I'm
story.
talking about?
Does it have a score on it?
The response from the guys at DC.
I remember that part. I remember all the Paramount stuff.
Okay. At one point, somebody said to Scott, see, there goes my memory.
Squirrel.
Yeah. Point was, it got leaked that Deep Space Nine had gone to somebody who wasn't the regular licensor of Star Trek comics. Like, the Star Trek license was somewhere else, and Deep Space Nine was going to a separate publisher.
And that's Star Trek.
Yeah, and it got out, and the guy said with a straight face, well, I guess that's okay, Dark Horse is a good company.
Didn't remember our name.
They didn't think we could do it, and Scott went in and did it. And that felt good.
And
Because it turned out that DC had the license for Star Trek and Star Trek Next Generation, and it wasn't an automatic. It's not. There was an opening to take it.
And our feeling in the company is, even though everyone would say, oh, it's impossible to go DC, they sell a zillion copies, we never knew impossible. The question we usually asked is it impossible or merely extremely difficult? And nothing's impossible. Hey, for me, no is just an opinion. Wait, before I go on, one of the things that would be great, because all of us have our new companies that we're trying to push forward on, and nothing life's ever easy. If any of you are taking pictures or any little bits of video, please push them out there.
Oh, good God, no.
I don't know how to, well, I don't know Twitter enough to learn how to catch followers or whatever it is, but we could all use some help in that regard.
Use some passion.
We'll have some URLs. We'll have some URLs on our last slide where you can follow up on some of our blogs and the things we're doing now.
So also, on the license titles, what our approach would be is, for us, everything, even including marketing, storytelling. So I went to Paramount and I said, look, we can't quite pay the licensee that you're happy about. And what I didn't say is, I can't quite imagine why you've not run us and how you can be that happy. The lady Andrew Hines was the worldwide head of licensing for Licensing Pages, who's, by the way, we're still close friends. She's on our advisory board. Decided to take a chance. And they liked us so much, they considered us their favorite licensee, and where they had a really tight policy. We go outside the box. We don't understand boxes. We got away with so much because we really understood the lore. And they liked it. So we were also about the first of anime and manga stuff with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and stuff.
Kevin Harlock and Ninja High School wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Kevin Harlock was really an outreach for us, but it had been done on our side, and that made all the difference.
That's right. After we got Ninja High School, it was like, I think Ben maybe suggested it.
So we had a lot of firsts, and Tom is amazing with memory and kept this whole list of firsts. The only thing he ever lost in his life was the list.
List of everything.
But we brought, Japanese comics to the U.S., and you know, we enjoyed it, and the president of Company Hotel Street Fighter came out because they never even thought about it. It was their baby. Everything did really well for us when it came to that. We actually produced it in a pretty high-end format.
That touches a little on comic history. Why don't we slide ahead a couple slides here? Chris, I'd like to ask you a question.
Just a second before we go there.
Yes.
A couple of things to go back.
Sorry.
A couple of things about like Planet of the Apes we got because 20th Century Fox, at the time, it wasn't really a viable property to 20th Century Fox anymore. They didn't have TV show production, they didn't have movie production, they weren't thinking, but they thought of it as a dead property. So we picked it up fairly inexpensive.
Oh, no, they tricked us.
Did they?
Oh, yeah. I'm friends with the person after all those years, and he's on our advisory board
At
today.
Fox?
Oh, yeah, he owes it. He knew he owed it. He told me when the movie was coming out. Yeah.
From back then?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's strike that. We move on to the next one.
Comics history.
We also licensed everything, but that was unusual. I mean, we had cartoon shows, we had games, bands, everything.
But also in the case of like
Novels.
like Gomez from Full Moon Studios, which was a low-end B-movie direct-to-video company. And the idea was that they were financing the comics, and they were paying for them, but it allowed us to do color comics at somebody else's expense and experiment with how to get them printed and distributed.
Big expense.
As long as somebody else was making the money. And so we always had our eye out for these kinds of deals, because your thing has always been, in the beginning, you can't lose money. So if we can find a way to get something done that either breaks even or makes money, and especially if somebody else picks up the cost.
And we were never willing to compromise. These guys are amazing when it comes to editing and talent, because my other problem is I don't quite understand. If you can do more stuff, why can't it all just be perfect? But we had.
How are you going to do that?
I just can't remember all the different little formulas.
So I want to ask you guys about, going ahead to comics history real quick, because you guys have a background in